Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Welcome to FYI.
Welcome.
For your
FYI.
information, I am Direct Finance alongside Sharon Duncan this morning,
Yeah,
guys. It is Wednesday, the 10th of
it
August,
is. It is.
2022.
It is Wednesday. Morning,
Good
Charita. Good morning.
morning.
Good
I
morning.
feel bright
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
about
yeah.
this morning.
Happy to. We have a
Fully
lot of folks
rested.
here. Sabal James and Tommy Gibbs and, well, you know the usuals. You know them.
I know that Beatrice LB, come
The
on,
usuals.
Beatrice. You know how it's the
Yep,
past
yep,
go,
yep,
you know.
yep, yep, yep,
Start referring to you
yep.
as usual.
Left too long and check.
Good morning,
Left too long and
Beatrice.
check.
Good
It
morning,
steps up.
Vashti. How you guys doing out there this morning? You up and about so early. So
Yes,
pleasure
and
to
folks,
have you
share the
here.
live early. Don't let me waste time. Share, share, share. Vashti Magnot and all the other folks. Good to have you folks with us. Really good to have you folks with us.
That is so true.
Vashti and Rupert.
Lynn Finance. Good morning to you, Lynn.
Well, you know, if Lynn is here, they got somebody else who's close by.
Yes,
Very
definitely.
close. Lena Williams has to be close by. Once Lynn is outside and is here with us, Lena has to be not too far back at all.
I see Verita Garaway
Yeah,
here this
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
Look, Warren Figueroa. Good
Oh,
morning
Long
to you,
Island.
Warren, what's
Long
up?
Island is here.
Warren having some
Yep,
coffee.
yep. We're having some too.
Wondered.
And this is a special brew. I won't tell you the rest. Right?
Super
The special brew. You see this when you see in front of the camera, the nice cup, but then you see the mug at the back. Mixing it up, folks. Keeping it real. Got some extras there. The coffee's so nice this morning.
Yeah.
We got some extras on
You see
standby.
Tommy Gibbs on the roll with you this morning. From so the usual suspects are here as normal.
Yeah. We like when they come by. Once you know yourself, you know, to thine own self.
Be true.
Be true. The good book says, truth and the inward parts.
Kamal Fasad.
Oh,
Hey,
Kamal is on the
good
wrong
morning
side.
to you.
The wrong side of the table this morning.
Yes.
Wrong side. Make it right, Kamal.
Warren is saying with sugar or honey.
We can take it however we get it. However you are. Things that you got too much to choose. Choose it. However we get it, we take it.
You know, we don't have all of those options here. Maybe just the coffee, just
We taking it how we get it, my brother.
sugar shortage.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. We talk about that too, because a lot of money going into it's too cool.
guys.
A lot of money going in. Wanda Jackman is here. Cup or mug? Sugar, no sugar. Cup, so we get things good. This is bush we see talking out.
Cup or mug.
We're just happy for the tea. We're just happy for the little coffee tea.
Also,
you
we
know.
don't have to settle it
Yeah.
in our hand.
Yeah. Cup or mug.
We good,
You know.
we good.
I usually like the cup, but
Oh,
you know, we take it how we get it.
Let's take
Yeah,
it.
no.
You know, I did.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do food and nutrition in not home ec, home economic management in school. I did start a class. You know, I don't think the teacher liked me very much. I didn't really like that teacher. So I
It's
mean,
mutual.
that lasted like a month.
Mutual
That
dislike.
class lasted like a month, and
Mutual.
then I dropped that course. I dropped
Yeah.
that completely. The secondary school, I went on to
You see how much your life is about feeling? Yeah, it's a spirit
I
teacher.
dropped the class.
Who knows she could have gone to be a great chef, you know?
No,
world
but
renowned.
I dropped the class and I went and I did in that stead I did integrated. No, not integrated. What did
Economics.
I do? No, not economics. Information technology. That's what I did. You know, now the children out there, the majority of them do EDPM. Baby, so
PDPM, help me out. That
Come
was
on.
in my Europe.
that wasn't
EDPM.
your well, it wasn't in mine either because I had to do
EDPM.
information technology.
Every year they're adding more subjects.
Mm.
Everything. Just now with newspaper reading. You know, they got the subject newspaper reading, book reading. Well, they got bookkeeping already. But
I think EDPM is it's electronic document processing.
something.
Management,
Yeah.
something along that line.
Something.
Don't ask me, you know.
Yeah,
Don't,
cut and
don't
paste.
judge me this morning.
Cut and paste. Wanda Jackman
judge
says,
me.
imagine sugar shortage. Yeah. Could imagine it. Yeah, if somebody told me that 2 years ago, I said, buy new devil.
Look how Warren disrespectful. Warren
Yeah.
said IT. At least you can Google for it.
Yeah. That's how they wake up and decide they can do violence to people. They wake up just like that and decide to do violence to somebody.
You know, the EDPM people could do that. You know, IT is a little bit more. It goes into the little bit more of the basics when it comes to algorithms and so forth. So you know,
Ones and zeros.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah. Ones and zeros. Yeah, we're gonna know what you're talking about. Nairi Thomas, good to see you, Nairi, and Faye Furt. Good to have you, Faye, and Paula Hicks. Kamal says soon we might sweeten our tea.
So we might can't.
Yeah.
Can't sweeten our tea because the sugar's too expensive.
Already. I see mine home going down. I haven't watching these prices going up. We don't use so much anyhow. I see it going down. So at some point before August, month 10, I got face the shop and see what happening, you know.
That comment is to you, Sharon.
Yeah, which one?
And the watcher.
Latoya D'Souza says, good morning to you guys. Love and kisses coming your way from Barty. Oh, yes. Yeah. You know how you spray the purple and you go inside. That's how really those kisses. Just kind of linger in there in that fragrance, you know, fragrance of those kisses. Linger in there a little bit.
You know, Latoya, waiting on you to call her. You see, I'm saying this on air, Latoya.
Yeah.
Latoya, waiting on you to call her, you know. Latoya have a beautiful business that she does, you know, taking care of nails.
Oh, hair, good, right person.
Mani-pedi,
right
everything.
person. Look at this story here now.
Oh, Candace, you know, right?
Look at this story. Candy says a good thing the guy sugar short is because she named Candy. She's sweetheart by herself. She did do sugar. Sweetheart by herself. Yep. Yeah, and Kamal is telling us about some bullyism this small miners facing.
Yeah. But I know that
the country we live in.
Yeah. This is an issue that I think I have to give because I have to give some credit to Simona Brooms when she was there as a union minister. She was actually doing pushing when it comes to small miners and
looking out for this small man. Yeah. Folks, as you come on, hundreds of you already. Share the live, smash that emoji button for us. Smash the emoji button, share the live, share and smash and share and smash. John Carter's in the house.
London.
Yeah, from London. My middle son, his middle name is Carter, but we give him the French version, Cartier. Yeah, we know you extra. Like that's too simple. Yeah. But you know, keeping with Mark and Carter, my favorite.
You said we, but I don't think that it's you, Sharon. It's you.
I just want his mom to feel a little inclusive there.
No, we know it's you.
Yeah, Cartier.
You don't know woman that gets up any time in the morning and say, you know what, I think I'm going to name myself Cartier.
Cartier. Real different. Kevin Pierce. Ayabo, Natasha Congress, good to have you. Edward Brooms, Lloyd McAllister, shout out Alfonso Evans, and all you fantastic folks. Welcome. Smash that emoji. The emoji's gotta match the viewers, you know. Please, folks. Some of y'all get caught up in the program. Y'all gone off. I know some of y'all turn me on. Just listening and y'all gone about your daily chores in the house. That's all right. You know. I ain't think it's a bad look. I know it's a bad look. We big. We big, but we ain't bad lucky. Yep. So lots happening though. What's happening this morning? The morning paper.
Paulette Hicks got sugar. Listen, Paulette Hicks, just don't put in the address. You might be swarmed.
Yeah.
Paulette,
maybe maybe Paulette's one thing who's smuggling. The man, the CEO guy, Sugar said they got smugglers.
Yeah.
Sugar smugglers.
Kamala is speaking about the mining there. And let me just give some background to that. We have, and if you were to look at, I would just want to put it from that viewpoint. Before there was oil, let's go back. If you actually went to see the major sectors in the country and what really pulled our country and held it together, you would see mining and agriculture. Those are the things that was up there. When it comes to gold and diamond mining, like Bartica is a mining town, gateway to the interior, as reported. Everybody in search of El Dorado, just reach to that point once they are mining gold. And I'm telling you that what Kamal is speaking about is the fact every family in Bartica, directly or indirectly, depends on mining as the way of life, bread and butter. It puts a meal on the table for you. Every single family in Bartica. I don't know one family in Bartica that does not depend on mining, either directly or indirectly. So it's a huge issue when you have large companies being given access to all of the mining lands and those things, and small miners are not given the opportunity, the equitable access to those lands so that they will be able to put bread on the table for their families. And this is the real issue.
Can I see Joris, the other sweet girl, has a compliment for us there.
Jay, you look so beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank
I
you.
know. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
know.
Mary, because my call name is Junior. You know, those who grew up with me. Yeah, those trying to snatch that one.
Said, compliment Sharon.
She just reinforcing is who she's playing the compliments. She's making it. Edward is here, boy. Edward Gonzalez. Edward is here. Yeah. Yeah. Edward learned 3 words in life from the Bronx. When actually from Edward at school. From the Bronx. From the Bronx.
I never remember the story.
Yeah.
But I whole thing with Booker T. Washington.
Warren says, thank you, Jay. A lot of J's this morning. Jay left, right, and center. Karen, like you were talking.
No, I was saying that when you were just talking about Edward Gonzalez and putting from the Bronx, as you know that there's this whole thing with Booker T. Washington. And as a child, my grandfather used to tell me this story about when Booker T. Washington was going to school, you know, and his mother actually was working. She was working for a white family, and she sent him to a white school, and he said when he was going to school, he heard everybody standing up and saying their names, you know, like Sharon Avery Duncan, Joretta Vanessa Fernandez, you know. So no, but
you gotta
like Sharon A. Duncan, Joretta V. Fernandez. Said Booker T. Washington. I don't think there was any name that put for the T.
T's nothing. T's just
you know, guys.
For the bourgeoisie effect.
For some reason, this is how your mind works. You just talk about one thing and it goes on to the next and the next. And you know, for Guyanese, I don't know if for anyone where else, but Guyanese, I don't think you are truly Guyanese if you never heard on some kind of story from your grandparents. When it comes to Strawberry Bill and Sensible Bill.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I think we all that
bring
good
back
stuff.
some of those today.
All that good stuff.
We need to bring back some today. You know?
It was a lovely day. And lovely sun outside. 20-something degrees. Beautiful weather.
I'm telling you, it's a great morning. I don't know what is going on, but it's a great morning. I woke up, I felt great, and I am so happy about that.
Yeah. Beautiful,
oh my goodness.
Beautiful weather.
Hey Marlon, I see you there, Marlon. Marlon said, "Is what tea you sipping this morning?" Sharon, Marlon, in your business there.
Yeah.
Answer Marlon.
Drink made the tea this morning. It's a beautiful.
Don't let Sheriff. I make the tea every morning.
Well.
Sheriff made the tea this morning.
We can take the mornings as they come. Don't let me rush it. As they come. Right?
Yes.
It's a beautiful. What did you do this morning? She's coming closer and closer to being sent off, you know. Closer and closer.
I will take it. Right? I'll take it however I get.
Closer and closer. Tell us what you did this morning.
What do you mean?
The tea is extra special. What was it this morning?
I don't know. I think it's
the cream or what?
It's the way in which I stirred it.
Oh,
the grapes
that
I stirred it and mixed it in with.
Yeah.
The sugar dissolved gracefully.
It wasn't plenty, but it dissolved gracefully. The shortage, berries all gracefully. What are we watching at in the morning paper? You can carry us here. Sorry to interrupt your tea flow.
I almost choked, but it's okay.
Help us there.
Well, the first thing we're looking at is that story with the quarantine man and Suraj Ganpat, and it says the morning paper saying that he's still on the run over the murder of his wife Cindy.
Yeah.
This story has taken so many turns, you know. And I was looking at one of the online news sites. I believe it was on Newsroom that carried a transcript of a conversation that he had. He called into one of Cindy's relatives and was basically telling her that another relative of hers was complaining to him that she was with somebody else. She was in a romantic relationship with someone else, you know, and the person actually disclosed Cindy's location to him.
I think there's something about ex-husband that says that you don't have any exclusive rights. Something with ex-husband, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I had this conversation only yesterday with someone, because we teach as parents, you know, we teach our children, especially females, you know, you act a certain way. I think we have a lot of work to do when it comes to teaching young men that your wife is not your property. You know, a woman it's not your property. So
Agreed.
it's not for you to do as you please. When you're married to someone, it, that is not something, a possession that you own. It's not there for you to own and control. So if you treat someone badly, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
Right. So and then you have to teach your sons that it's okay also for a woman to not want to be with you. That it's okay for someone to want to leave. We have to teach our sons those things, because they must never be in a state, because I think sometimes men are vulnerable too when it comes to emotions, and we have, as a society, we have teach men that it's not okay to express emotions as women do. So they do some really drastic, ridiculous things, and then have to face jail time.
Correct.
Some of them have ties because of ignorance. We have to change the course of things, and how men are trained from little boys.
Correct. And it says here that Cindy's father is criticizing the police because of how they handled a wounding report.
Yes.
And of course, we say it here all the time. It's too often that when women go to the police station to make complaints of whether it's wound, assault in general, you hear being a man and woman's story, and they're not taken with a level of seriousness that they should.
They're the and this is where I have the issue when and we speak about these matters very often, and we speak about the fact that a lot of times things look good as headlines. Oh, we have a zero tolerance for at the level of the police station,
being trained in XYZ,
right? Police being trained to handle these situations, and those things are just on paper, right? The majority of the cases when it comes to domestic violence is not done in the correct manner. You have a few anomalies that actually goes through the process as should, but the majority of those cases are treated very lightly, and it's something that we have to keep putting the pressure up on, because we said it yesterday, that particular young woman, there was, like her father is saying here, there was an incident before where he did attack her with a knife before, and how is it that didn't go the true course, that somebody didn't take, and women, I have to say this to women. When you go to the system and you make a report at the level of police, you don't pull back. No amount to beg a man beg you to pull back in case you should, because you have to let it be the standard that you will not accept that, and that there are repercussions to these actions, so don't go and make a report and then pull it back. Don't do that. And I understand the problem is that, usually the majority, again, this man is the bread and butter for the family. If he then in the lockup, who wants it? But if you were dead, what next?
And in addition to that, I wonder how different this may have turned out with the correct intervention. Like the father is saying, there was a wounding report that was made, but the police didn't handle it very well, at least in the impression of the family.
Yeah.
And how different would Cindy have still been here with us had this been handled differently by the authorities?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
very much so.
And while we were on
for the truth, show the zero tolerance.
While we're on that front, a Sophia woman has allegedly been killed for being a snitch, according to a report that we're following. Yep, and it says that two women from the community, stabbed her to death.
How do you kill somebody for being a snitch, as you say? Oh,
how does that help you?
Where are we living?
How does that help you?
We're like, how does this define a community?
Yeah.
How does we're
and a snitch for what and to what?
You would look at movies with gangs.
So two of them not gonna go down. Spend some years behind bars.
For what?
Oh.
For stupidness, for ignorance. Yeah. That's the right word to use.
And again, ignorance. We trust that the judicial system sends a very strong signal that this kind of behavior will not be accepted in our society. This and killing of women in general will not be, whether it's by women or what have you, is not going to be acceptable. This is the other pandemic we often see here. This is the other pandemic where women are losing their lives so callously. It's very, very sad.
No,
very sad.
For me, this is a major one, because so many times I myself would ask, when it comes to crime, petty crime especially, criminals that commit petty crime. I always say that persons living in these communities that these people reside in, they know who they are, and they have to speak out, But then when you see this, as if a woman allegedly killed for being a snitch, then you have an understanding of what the circumstances are these people are facing, and their fear of actually speaking out about so many different things. So we have to have a system in place in which persons are safe. Your freedom, you should be free to speak, free to walk on your street, free to live in a space free from fear.
Wow.
This is not a case here, and so, I know a lot of, but at the University of Guyana, it so happens that I had a lot of colleagues coming from Sophia. They sit me down and they talk about the quality of their families. It's exemplary.
Again, these are very young women. This young lady
Extremely
from
young.
Sophia is 22. Vanessa Anderson, 22 years old. The other young woman is 22 as well.
But how are you cultured to believe that you can kill somebody because they're a snitch?
No, this is
like
this
what
is,
is your
this
daily
madness.
what's your daily
It's madness.
upbringing like? What family society, what family environment do you come? I always say, and you have to bear with me, folks, the psychology tells us that people just don't wake up one morning and decide that you should be killed for being a snitch. Right? You raise these people from babies, and this is not just about an immediate family. An entire community is responsible for the principles that are instilled into individuals living there. So we continue, and as a society, we continue to fail when it comes to the moral compass that we are. It is broken. If I can say that, the moral compass is broken, and we need to fix it, and it's on different fronts.
The hundreds of you who've joined us, welcome to FYI, and we're so happy to have you. Simone Graves, Osman Hodge, I see Candy, the leader in the Jeet is here with us as well, and all the other folks like John Jones, Margaret Nelson. Guys, share the live, smash that emoji button for us, and let's go. When we're talking about principles and so on. 5 held in a house in Norton Street with cocaine. One of them was an 18-year-old young woman, or 19-year-old a young woman. The other one was a police sergeant. Right, a police sergeant, and
this. Can you imagine when he telling her, "I am the police."
Is a well-known, drug dealer, right? And well-known drug dealer. 5 held in this house in Norton Street with cocaine.
Young people, I continue to tell you, I continue to say to you, when people approach you to get involved in anything drug related, please understand that you are placed there solely to take the fall. That is your role. You're not placed there because they want to help you out to some money on the side. It's illegal. But stay away from it.
This known drug dealer. It's interesting because when you read this report and you listen to it, at his premises, he's always being found with cocaine. It's a partner is not even trying to make a what do you call it? Be discreet about it.
Wow.
Right? Because several times he's coming to. He's come into contact with the law in this way,
and cocaine was found
on the premises.
So how is he still
right? It's interesting.
Out.
Very,
out there.
very, very, very interesting. But there's that happening on that front, and then there's some stuff happening internationally as well.
Well, there's a lot always happening internationally. So let us go straight.
Jane Bond and Glenford Gordon, Susie Wong, Shakira Phillips, George Barker. Folks, welcome to each and every one of you. Again, we ask you folks to share the live. You know how we do it here. Smash that emoji. But what are you having for breakfast at your end, folks? Do let us know. Do let us know. And on the international scene, good people, on the international scene. Yep. Taiwanese foreign minister says that China, this drill by China is part of its game plan for invasion. And this is its foreign minister, Mr. Joseph Wu, is a foreign minister. And he says this is all part of, Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan recently.
Yep.
It caused a little ruckus, and then the Chinese decided they're going to do some military drills off the Taiwanese coast. And this isn't sitting with a lot of folks. And the Taiwanese foreign minister, again here, Joseph Wu, is saying that this is just a dry run for the invasion. You know, we hope it doesn't go to that. We hope it doesn't go to that. You know, ever so often we hear because of what happened with World War I, 1914, am I right? World War II was 1920, 28, somewhere there about. Never again, you know, never again. And then we see all this stuff happening. Ukraine, was that supposed to happen again? But here we are, and we hope that good sense prevail.
You don't ask those questions without getting a response. Corned beef and bake, you know.
Margaret, that's in life.
Boil and fry. That's what's the
Yeah.
breakfast: sweet potato,
Yeah.
pepper pot, roti with pumpkin.
Wow.
You know.
Well, I haven't had some of this stuff in a long time. It costs, folks. It costs. Cost of living. Roti and pumpkin means in a long time. I had some pumpkin the other day. I couldn't afford the roti with it. You know, it's got pick. You had the pumpkin by itself.
That's on your kitchen garden or something. You know, you had to. You can't afford to go. To
I got an $800 food the other day. Did you see this thing in this box? You know,
you just did it 8.
It's like a shot of food.
You can get on
$800. You take a shot glass, you turn on the rice. Take a shot glass, you turn on the stew. $800. But good to see a lot of folks eating well.
I'm sorry, but Marlon Thomas is on a different
1945, yes. You know? 39. What did they say? 28. Yeah. Thanks very much. Wanda says World War I is 1915. I always says 1914. Thanks, Ronald. 1939. Ronald Austin Jr. Thank you very much. World War II.
Well,
I know 1928 in my head sounded a little strange. Yeah,
19, you know, I wasn't even trying to correct you. You know,
and we always say never again.
I wasn't even trying to correct you.
We always say never again. Never again. 1914 and 1939. Thanks very much. And we said never again. That's how we built the UN and all of these international agencies and NATO and all that came out of that era. Yeah. Never again. And we can say, look, we can talk and so on.
Yeah, well, rather than saying that World War I is 1914 and the World War II is.
Well, I was a broken clock. I was right at least once there. You know, I got 1940. I gave me the 1 mark. I can take my 1 mark and give my half mark for effort.
Yes, effort, Shirley. Yeah. No, but, you know, by no means, and I say this all the time, by no means am I any expert when it comes to international relations, and I do not pretend to be. But from where I'm sitting, I'm looking at all that is going on, China and the drills that they're having there. And I understand what the Taiwanese minister is saying there, because as it would appear to everyone from all the reporting that's coming out and all of that, the only thing left to be done is for a full-blown attack. Yeah. Right? Because you've shown strength. It's a show of force. So that's
how do you lay claim to a whole people who say we want to be claimed? You know?
Yeah.
As a country. You know, Ronald will blame me out here now because Ronald is the expert in these matters. Ronald Austin Jr., that is. And his father too. I think it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the Barbadian former prime minister. It's not Owen Archer. Way back. This is early CARICOM days. Ronald, help me with a name. And it wasn't prime minister. I think it was Alistair McIntyre. He says that no nation, however strong, can drop an indictment against an entire people. This is when our constitution was suspended in 1953. Getting some things right this morning. And here it is. I'm like, how are you going to ship the whole people? You said, you know, Taiwan is part of China. Now, like, we know the way the modern world works. Look, you can be a colony and you decide, you know, I want self-governance, and you move towards that. You have a referendum, and if the majority of people say we want, you know, to have self-administration or self-governance, that's the way they go.
Dropping some names.
That's the way they go. Errol Barrow. Thanks very much. Errol Barrow.
He got
that's the name. Yeah, Errol Barrow. No nation, however strong, can drop an indictment against an entire people. I think McIntyre was the economist. Yeah, you can drop, and this was happening. I don't see how in this modern age with how bright, you can say, oh, we own y'all. Right? This territory with all these people, this is we own. Right? If people decide they want self-determination and they want to go, I don't understand it. Right? It's much like Putin and Ukraine. Right? For what? For what? Right? And you could kill so many people just wanting to exercise authority and a right, quote unquote, over other people. It's madness. and what people are prepared to do for that. And you know what affects me until this day and age, again, because after 1914 and 1939, we say never again. And then you look and you see all these dancing around. It bothers me tremendously in this day and age. Every sane person know Jamal Khashoggi was killed by, is it MBS? Is the title for the fella? All right. Everybody know he had a hand in it. And to see, because of interest on the national stage, people go and smile up with this murderer. You know? Because of interest. When you know, I mean, but let the small man take another life. Right? We ain't sparing he nothing. Because he ain't got no worth for us. But because we want favor and patronage and so on from some other people, we can dance around it. You know? It's interesting to see how these things work. And we say, never again, right? So you could be an innocent person. You go on into some embassy, them boys chop you up and fetch you out. And because of some other interest that people say supersedes your human life that you have a right to, people can say, all right, man, we won't look at that right now. You know?
Notwithstanding.
Yeah. Botheration was a good concert. You know, mayhem aside, you know, right? Mayhem aside.
No, but you know, we have to be on a different level of we have to be what's the right word I can use? For need of a better word, I think that we have to be blind ourselves. You know? To know it factual that we have countries, we have very powerful countries that are stockpiling weapons of mass destruction and believe that there's never again going to be a situation
and you know, we got
in which those things would be used.
We have our own issues to confront. Like when you look locally and you see the economic stagnation being inflicted and marginalization on a whole community of people. I know all the MSCs just watching on, you know, Sarah and Berman and what's the other woman's name? Miller. Just watching on, right? And then you go through all this fantastic language of saying, oh, equity and so on, by saying y'all wicked, right? That's how it's called. Y'all wicked, man. 21st century, we got enough for all. But you know what? These are the jagabots and the bastards that were on the Titanic. That, you know, you had lifeboats with more space, but because of class and all kind of thing, and those things that we create to keep each other back.
Yeah.
Right? We said, no, no, it's only 3 we can fit in here, but we got room for y'all. And I got space about 20 more. We got enough. Never time in our history where we've had so much, but oh God, people got so little.
Agreed.
Right? And that's why we were saying it the other morning here, and I saw Winston Jordan called it this morning. Who can call this thing? We're going through what it is. And Winston Jordan, former Minister of Finance, he called it. We're going to talk about that later on. We got so much. We belly full. Bob Marley writing years ago told us, but we hungry. How is that? How is that? His wickedness. You know?
But the show of force there.
Church people can say it's the devil in them.
Yep.
I believe it.
The show of force there is, I think we have to look at it with the gravity that it demands. The show of force there by China in as it pertains to Taiwan, and we must at all times just know what it is. We have to just call it out what it is. You know, people China's flexing its muscles right about now to basically say to Taiwan, this is what we have, this is what we can do, this is what we require of you, and if you do not comply and confirm with whatever is it that we require, then
but again, I can't help seeing the same similarities, because might is right, and you're more powerful than somebody else. It's never happening locally. This is what we have. This is what you will have and will not have, and we go down the road.
That's what it is.
Right? We go down the road. But you know, we look to Cuba as well. Lots of stuff happening on the Cuban front. Sorry about that. Lots of stuff happening on the Cuban front too. They've had some disaster recently where some of their oil depots, just exploded there, and more. But they seem to have it under control now. And they're saying it's the worst in the island's history. And all these things we got to contend with. You know, you can imagine something like this. We hustling with shore base and gas to shore and all them things. Some of this happens. Dead, we dead.
Yeah.
We could build a road that don't end up in potholes the next week. And we going with oil to shore and gas to shore and all that. You can imagine something like this happen here, where we there. And that is why people have been calling for a certain kind of insurance coverage for the oil and gas sector, for the industry. But them boys didn't care. They didn't care. Let me go down the road. You understand? Let me go down. But the Cubans know it all too well. And thankfully, they put some systems in place and they were able to bring all of the boarding of this crude oil under control there, you know.
It's crazy, yesterday I was looking at this and following it very keenly because, again, like you were saying, knowing where we are going and what we're dealing with right now, these things you take as very very serious examples. And yesterday it was very frightening to look at. It was very frightening to look at. I think it as it was reported, the damages was over 40%. Over 40% of the Caribbean's island's main fuel storage facility. It was crazy.
Correct. All them by thinking about is making money, which is good, but safety as well. And to see them just, we say, breaking down the safeguards, the guardrails to suit profiteering and so on, we can pay a terrible cost. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. So we'll be following that on the Cuban front. And a little closer to home in the region, St. Lucia has some crime issues. They've done, I think, over 200 murders for the year, and they're saying they need some help. It's mature to say you need some help. I see there's a sign of maturity to say you need some help. Them boys, they need help in every sector, in every sphere. But them hard ears, I know having the hard ears puppy, right? Folks who are now joining us, do us the big favor, share the live so all of us get credible and valid information. Smash that emoji button for us, folks. Make the emojis look nice to it. Hard ears puppy. I heard the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, locally said, "Oh, guys, Suko, that little thing there, that's an internal thing, man, personalities. We tell them they have to go ahead to go and do what they got to do with this $3.6 billion. They're going to start to sell out. I'll even see them when you can see them. That's not urgent, but the company got to move forward. Doing what? Doing what?
Doing exactly what it's been doing. Preparing for a total shutdown. That's what
Einstein was bright. You couldn't fathom how bright Einstein was, And scientists argue, as an aside, that in our total lives, we use about 10% of our brains. If Einstein used 10% of human, how much the rest are we using? To sit down and to think. And they said how Einstein went about this thing is usually people do the math. Right? To back up the science, to prove the science right. Einstein theorized and hoped the maths catch up with him, and he was right. All this theorizing about black holes, and I'm talking about Gaisuko and the event horizon and so on, how black holes are formed, and the event horizon is the strongest point in the black hole, where even light cannot escape. The pull of gravity is so strong. And just staring up at the stars, a man could theorize that. And science come years later and said, this man is right? Doing the math and so on, figuring out how this universe works, coming up with an elegant theory of everything equals MC squared. The man, the bright, 10% of brain using. How much we using, right? And he said, madness is trying to do the same thing over and over and expecting the same, a different result. Einstein, one of the brightest who ever lived, like Solomon. He said, madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. In Guyana, we call it Jagdoism. That's what we call it, Jagdoism.
I think you lost the trenches there this morning. Right? You went into the depth of your readings and you
we call it Jagdoism. Right? History. Right? We can go down fighting black man after rule we. Get where we want. The industry going down, Rita. I'll be talking about that later on. We can show you how it's going down. Right? If you give $100 billion to people who don't know how to manage, to lead, and so on, that money going to on the event horizon. Right? The black hole named Gaisuko just sucking in everything. You understand? And the black hole named Gaisuko sucking this whole country. And then we can say, oh, shucks, man, we should have known. Right? They want to listen to the people like Einstein who know, the bright people in the society who know and say, folks, put a stop here. This gas is show thing that we check XYZ. This oil industry, look, insurance coverage, something. They're listening.
Because, my dear, they're transactional.
Yep.
And you remember they think they did a business and a transaction. It's different.
We can talk about transactions just now too, right?
You know, on that note, I have to say, one of our viewers, because I have there are a few persons that have never actually lived in Guyana. I know persons never visited Guyana, but because they associate with Guyanese, so when this program is on and they are wrong, the Guyanese are looking at the program, they're there. So I had this conversation with someone that said, this guy listening and he was hearing this whole thing about a business and a transaction and the difference has been explained. And they said he was like rolling on the floor with laughter. And he said, that's a whole president.
No, Charita. If Einstein used 10% of his brain in his lifetime, he used a full 10%. How much Afran using? He even see 0.000 something. Let's be there. You understand me? If you had some good presidents in this country, right? Who wanted well?
It's called tribalism.
Oh my Lord. Right, but the St. Lucians know they got a problem and they're reaching out for help.
Yes, you have to do that. You have to do that.
Not them by say the more worst things the close ranks with the same people who got me the nonsense.
A lot of the things that we call for international aid with is when it comes to investigations and real hard investigations when it pertains to serious crimes in this country, because it would appear that we don't have the capacity to go beyond a certain point, and we have to acknowledge that, and we have to better the system when it comes to the labs and all of those. Sometimes I find it funny.
Now is the time. Now is the time. Trita, you say something very important here. Capacity building in these sectors. And if ever in our time and our history we got the money to do it, it is now. They might talk about Trinidad falling apart, right? They might talk about Trinidad, but when you go to Trinidad and you look around, you see what they do with the oil money. You see what they have done is we send it to Trinidad to do testing in various areas because we lack the capacity. You can see what the Trinidadians have done with their oil money. What we doing with we own, we asking, I know if the Trinidad had a sugar shortage. I know if they had a dish shortage. I know how the price is going. I know when we there with all the opulence that we got. Belly full, but we're hungry. And look, story here, we're talking about what's happening in St. Lucia and them crying for help. Well, we see there is Indigenous, it's Heritage Month. It's in September, but it's being launched now. I know, my Lord, to see and listen to the hypocrites is interesting. It's a transaction happening here. There's not business, They want to do business with the indigenous people in this country. It's a transaction, it's a one-off.
As crisis, only yesterday at the press conference of the leader of the opposition, I was a part of that of that team. And I have to say, one of the questions that came is if I was asked that, based on everything that you're saying, how are you viewing the statement made by none other than Pauline Sukai, who's the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, as they have it. And she said that, basically that all is well with the indigenous people.
All is well.
Probably on cloud nine.
That's how they like to have it. As we're discussing here, they've launched Amerindian Heritage Month, Indigenous Heritage Month. I would just say Heritage Month. And, it's themed celebrating our traditional culture while building one. Jesus of mercy. I can't even bring myself to say the phrase, celebrating our indigenous our traditional culture, right? Let me lift it, sir. Celebrating our traditional culture, and it's very interesting to see what they deem as this one Guyana, according to them, because when you look at the evidence, it don't show that. If we were one Guyana, how come you still got some issues that going unresolved, the places we've been chronicling here for the last months? You want to hear Pauline Sukai talking about Little Kanubali and the hardships that they have inflicted on the people there. The Chinese landing issue, right, is not resolved as yet. An international body, the UN Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, says what has happened there. You got some human
Violation.
rights violations there.
Mhm.
Right? And the Chinese landing folks have just written to the National Two Shows Council for their intervention to bring the government to fulfill its obligation to Chinese landing. And Sukai can tell us we got no problems there. And then you got a similar issue at Isenuru, right? Of course, respectively, they affect the Carib community and the Akawayos of Isenuru, right? Another international body, this time the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, says there are violations among the indigenous people at Isenuru. I hope Pauline can say everything nice, and then you see, they want business with indigenous people. They want a transaction. They want gap. They want to have a conversation. You can't have a conversation when you're violating the human rights. Morudi is another area where you got the people are rich like us. It's so emblematic of where we're there. What is in the earth belongs to them. They're wealthy, but other people come in, right? And they're colonized in their own villages. Can you imagine that? You are rich, but you're hungry every day because what is in the ground? The police is conspiring against them in this country. And then you got issues again at places like Wiki Kalkuni, Region 10, and Hururu again in Region 10. And she would have us to believe, the Honorable Minister Pauline Sukai, all is well. Where? In which indigenous community in this country all is well?
Yeah, I have a problem with I have a serious problem with the team for the indigenous.
Everything is one game attached to it.
I have a problem with I have a serious problem with it. I'm not going to try to nice it up because at no point in time do you impose upon a people. I mean, we understand the level of a dictatorial that we've been seeing every single day. When it comes to the indigenous people, why is it that you have to go and impose that upon them? I want to say very, very clearly, when it comes to integration and actually merging and providing a linkage when it comes to the hinterland and central Guyana, I want to say that the only administration that ever worked in that direction was the Grange-led administration. No PPP administration ever.
No,
did
because
that.
it serves their
None,
purpose
right?
to keep people in the dark.
None of them never did it. Right now, as we speak, so much was done in terms of getting access to information to the indigenous people, making sure that they have a voice and all of that. When it comes to the establishment of radio stations in those communities, when it comes to setting up ICT hubs in those communities, as it is right now, let me tell you that in order to lock the indigenous people out from actually getting the information, we have PPP aligned indigenous leaders that would actually disconnect the internet from persons accessing it at certain times. Oh, like 8 o'clock in the night, internet watch in the ring, no way, disconnected before they may put it on at 9, right? This is what is going on right now within the indigenous communities, and in no way, shape, or form. I think Pauline, they will be whipped with many stripes. I don't know how else I see it going for them, because you cannot be such a hypocrite. You cannot be in power to represent the people and doing everything in your power to suppress those people and not see repercussions for your actions in the long run.
We're reflecting on the Amerindian People's Association. They wrote a lengthy letter in the papers, and they have said they were trying to reach with Pauline Sukai for 18 months, trying to reach with her to resolve some issues in the community for 18 months. She said everything well. And to reflect on Nicholas Fredericks, his what do you call it? He said just coming out. Right ahead,
I see Kelvin Daly is saying, she's not lying. I'm from a small Amerindian community, and that is exactly what's happening. Thank you so much, Kelvin Daly, for coming through with that. I'm telling you, so many times the persons believe that you just sit and make these things up. It's the fact,
Nicholas Fredericks, the previous head of the National Two Shows Council, wrote a damning letter in the papers during the last two Showers Council meeting that they had in Georgetown. And he outlined some of the very issues we're talking with here. And he said, myself and my fellow outgoing executive committee members have worked hard to ensure our independence as a body. However, the independence is undermined by the failure of the government to ensure the National Two Showers Council has funds to allow us to coordinate and organize the conference ourselves. Right? They infiltrate because they want a certain outcome. That's rigging. That's rigging. That's rigging. You got no SAPs to show you. That is rigging the process because you want people to say, oh, the government nice and they like we and so on. And this is the outgoing chairman. Well, you all take that. In addition to that, someone that Juita shared that press conference with yesterday, our colleague Marvin Williams also wrote in the press recently highlighting lots of the issues in the indigenous community that needs to be addressed. But Paul didn't say everything all right. Right? Revision of the Amerindian Act, rights violation, we spoke about some of that, victimization of elected leaders, you know, who are not PPP, right? He highlights again the Sanuri issue, Chinese landing issue, the Marudi issue, right? The unconscionable discontinuation of the Hayes program, you name it. But them boys launched Heritage Month yesterday and said, everything nice, we need the indigenous people good. Let me go down the road. Right?
You know, that group, the indigenous people, that group of people, and I say like people like Pauline Sakai, and let me not forget Lennox Schumann, you know, let me not forget
that hypocrite
that paraded himself as a representative of the indigenous people. You know, I listened to him in the National Assembly on Monday, stood up and asked about whether or not indigenous people would have access to the indigenous fishermen would have access to the money, and so the response given by the minister basically said no. And he just sat down and take that, you know, that's his level of representation.
And then he turned up 2 days later naked in the National Assembly.
Right? That's his level of representation.
For a photo op.
Absolute nonsense.
But mind you, he's enjoying over $1 million a month in salary and perks. Right? But then they trot him out occasionally and put a question in his mouth. Right? They make him look as though he's representing the indigenous people. Hypocrite.
But even indigenous people from the community that he comes from, they are not delusional about who he is and the fact that he doesn't have their best interests at heart. Those persons know that. They've been speaking out about it. And I have to say that his time is short. His time left is short.
And as we
he's
talk,
going to be soon out of there.
As we're talking about short, and who else time is short? Khalid Singh. As the leader of the opposition yesterday during that very press conference you were part of, Juita, says Khalid must go and reaffirm, you know, the opposition does not want Khalid Singh. Khalid must go, she swing. She must go. Right. I cannot see. We've been tracking it. We haven't done the graphic as yet, but we're going to do it. So Khalid, it come in. To show the decisions that have been taken in GCOM.
You want to show Khalid voting record?
Khalid voting record. It's a PPP voting record. Right? It's a PPP voting record. Right? And we ain't paying nobody $3 million a month who should be an independent thinker, right? And voting along PPP. If you want to know where Khalid voting, see with the commissioners of the PPP voting. And they can tell you where Khalid voting. Right? If you want to see sanctimonious gangsters, you real sanctimonious gangsters, watch Khalid. You know, put on your nice little earrings and your little makeup and you stush up your hair and so on, and you're carrying out $3 million a month.
They're deadly.
Oh.
They're deadly.
Silent and deadly. And then the trot show too, much like Truman. Every now and again, the roll show from under rock, and she says something, right? It does not concern her, a woman of her supposed judicial prowess, to know that the local government election has been deferred. Shouldn't we have gone to the National Assembly for that? It doesn't bother her, right? That what is constitutionally due has been delayed now for over a year, right? And they're still in a holding pattern for when we can have the date for local government elections. They're still in a holding pattern. It doesn't bother her.
It would appear that national election would come before that. You know, it would appear so. But the people don't like local government elections. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
something
yeah,
that they
yeah,
believe
yeah,
in, which is very
yeah,
strange. It's you know.
yeah,
Let me say this: the PPP, the PPP supporters specifically. I have to say this too. The PPP administration, the PPP as you see them right now, sitting in the seat of government, they dislike to empower people to the point that they prefer not to empower even their own people
yeah,
to make decisions. And this is what local government
yeah,
election does. Local government election says that people throughout the country
yeah,
are empowered to select to elect who their leaders should be. The PPP, and I say this to the specifically, like I'm saying, to the supporters of the PPP, that they do not even want to empower you to make the decision as to who should represent you at a local level because they want to come and force someone upon you,
yeah,
push that down your
yeah,
throat, basically, to say, look, take that. Check that person. Yes, they're corrupt. Yes, they're a waste. Yes, they don't do the work. Yes, they wouldn't go and represent you, but take it because
yeah,
we say that is who you must say.
yeah,
And people need
yeah,
to understand that because how is it that you can go forward and support a regime like that? How is it that you go forward and support a regime that does that, that utilizes the power from the seat of government to muzzle you? Even their supporters is being muzzled when they do not allow the local government elections to go through.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a startling truth.
We even know why these folks don't want the local government elections to go through. It's plain as day because all is not well, Rita.
Ah,
All is not well. Vendor said recently, nationally, he said, Guyanese scratching their head when it come to buying. What's the prices? You know, and you're trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. You miss, you miss like this, right? That's what you're doing, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents in this country. Folks, the economy biting.
yep.
It biting. And I watch the little sugar going down in that jar and the counter home. I look at my wife and I wonder which one we can take one for the team here now with these prices here. I know my old body won't fetch much. My wife's a little younger. Sis and girls, who can take one for the team here? You know, who can take one for the team here now? Right? Guyanese scratching their head when they go on the marketplace. That's what the vendor told us.
Yep.
Scratching their head. Folks, all is not well in this country. All is not well at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. And it's moving just beyond the physical marketplace like Bordeaux or the Monrepo market. It's moving beyond there. This price thing is getting out of control now because we're seeing in our, what they said, in today's Starbucks News, we're making this up, right? A letter writer is complaining hire car operators in West Denver have imposed hefty fare hikes. Hefty fare hikes. The letter reads, whereas the car fare from Breeden Hope to Potential Wales was $160, commuters are now paying $200. While from Breeden Hope to LaGrange and Bagelville, many hire car drivers are demanding the same $200, even though the old fare was $120. Another irregularity is seen in the Stanley Town fare before you turn to Canal number 2, where 140 has moved to the standard $200 now.
The standard $200.
Right? This is why people cry now, because the people at the helm only seem to be wanting to be there to pocket stuff for themselves. Right? If you're talking about show base and kickbacks and sue and agreements and all the support, they ain't got time with you. And this is happening. This is allowed to perpetuate even when, Drida, the minister is saying that boat fares will not be allowed to go up because the boys want to raise the boat fare too. Right? The boat fares will not be allowed to go up.
Let me talk about that.
Jesus,
let me talk about the boat fare. I'm sorry. I don't know who the minister talking to there because we have Kamal Prasad online, Bartica. We have Miss Garaway online joining from Bartica. There is absolutely no one in Bartica, and I can tell you this. The boat fare has increased since last year. That announcement that is being made by Maritime there, that you have the minister, none other than Edgel, presiding over there. The boat fare today, passengers traversing from Purika to Bartica, Bartica to Purika, pay $3,000. Let me tell you, it's so bad. And I got a report yesterday, after Maritime put out the big announcement and all of that. I got a report only yesterday that the man went in the boat and they didn't want to give back the $500 change, saying they don't know nothing but they don't know anything about what Maritime saying and all of that.
Wow, but Edgil is reported in this paper. Edgil says government not allowing hikes in transport fares at this time. Well, tell that to the people.
Well, and that's why I just said it. I said it a little earlier in the program that it's one thing to have something on paper, but then the practice is different on the ground. The Bartica speedboat owners, the persons operating there, is charging $3,000 per passenger to traverse that waterway. And it started when the Gazette order said could not have gone full capacity. You had to go half capacity with the speedboats and the buses and so forth. When the government gave the okay for transportation to go full capacity again, the fare did not go down. We have representatives from Maritime that is there on those wharves that knows that is the system, that doesn't say a damn thing about it. Don't do a damn thing to intervene when it comes to protecting the customers at that level. And right now, as we speak, persons still charging $3,000 a head. From Bartica to Purika, Purika to Bartica. So this is nonsense. So I can speak from this point, right? But then when I read the rest, they're talking about Purika Leg 1, Purika Wakenham, Purika Supernam, Georgetown, Wiedenhoop, and so forth. Well, I'm not sure. I think Georgetown, Wiedenhoop, I'm not sure if that there's any difficulty there. But Purika Supernam, Purika Wakenham, Purika Leg 1, let them go and check and see what's going on the ground.
Linden seems to have a problem too. Linden seems to have a price raise too. You know who knows what's happening in this country economically? Winston Jordan. He knows what's happening economically. He called it. He said Guyana already gripped by Dutch disease.
Yes.
Guyana already gripped by Dutch disease. Rita, in a simple way, explain to our viewers, like me, listeners and so on, what Dutch disease is. Isn't this when you got in all this opulence, but yet you ain't seeing a way you're making it? Yeah? You have all this money from oil and gas and oil, and things still tight. Isn't that Dutch disease?
All right, so we have been covering it. Let me start from that point, right? Probably not with the terminology used as much, but I know we did use it from time to time. But basically what it's saying there is that it's a paradox that a lot of countries that discovers this new resources, especially that if it pertains to oil, right, suffers from, in which the other sectors in the economy is suffering, right? And we've said it in no uncertain terms. We come out and we say, we talk about the sugar industry, we talk about fishing, agriculture sector altogether.
Rice production gone down.
We talk about mining, we talk about all of those things, and that's what we say that those other sectors have been failing, and there's no amount of propping it up with words, and there's no amount of going out there with all the cameras and the resources of the state to make this look good. Because I tell people at the end of the day, the numbers come back looking bad. Right? The last budget debate in February, I did a presentation, and I basically said the theme of my presentation was that the PUP delivered a failed report card to the people of Guyana. And I highlighted, I broke down when it comes to the sectors, how they have failed. They failed to meet any production target that they set for themselves. And that is what it entails. And they are going further and further down into that hole. They are dropping the production targets every single budget, and yet they're failing to meet it. It just goes to show the gravity of what we're facing right about now when it comes to what is termed the Dutch disease. Right?
Well,
everything else is failed.
Well, Jordan says already here. It's already here because we just took from the National Assembly's coffers, from the national coffers through the National Assembly, $44.7 billion. But nobody is feeling that, Rita. That's a disease we got. We're feeling it. Right? We're losing feeling in the economy. Right? 44 billion. You think it's nice time right? Not so. Not so at all, at all, at all, at all. People are feeling this thing, and with some of the money going, they say you can get better housing and water and so on. But if you see some water people sending into us, some samples and photographs and so on, and when folks, mind you, this 44.7 billion is in addition to the 52.9 billion they took out from the national coffers in February, right? I think that brings us up to how much returns? 590 something.
I think it's 597.
597 billion in the last 6 months, last 7 months, 8 months.
597.
Yeah, billion with a B, right? They say some going to agriculture, right? From this 4 billion, some going to public works for doing your streets and so on, but no streets and doing it, steal the thief, not the money. Finance getting a little bit, Ministry of I'm reading affairs getting a little bit, right? 597.6 billion, right? Where the money going? Winston Jordan says the Dutch disease and we skin already. Here's the Dutch disease and we skin already.
But we said it, we said it, and there was a lot of talk. We go back to the Hansard of the Parliament, that's why I encourage persons to listen to those debates, listen to what we say in those debates, because
lock in, tune in.
You would have heard that terminology being used by several speakers when it comes to using this saying Dutch disease. Beware of the Dutch disease and all of that. The PP tried to make light of it, but we knew that we were going in that direction simply because the budget, the 2022 budget, that 552.9 billion now added 44.7 billion, basically taking you just short of 600 billion, right? The entire budget is being carried by the oil revenue. That's what it's being carried by, because the other sectors are failing, because the administration, you know what is the irony of the situation? The irony is that when the AP and UAFC was in office, the PPP representatives went out there and they said, oh, they want to focus everything on oil. There are other sectors in the economy that needs attention and work needs to be, and they got into office and the other sectors seems to be non-existent to them, because every single thing is being carried by the oil revenue, and that's what's going on in the country.
But Juita, let us look at the Granger phenomenon. Let's look at the Granger phenomenon, right? Under the last administration, in 5 years, 1.2 trillion was spent.
Oh, wow.
1.2 trillion.
5 years, sir.
Right? In
all
the budgets and so on, supplementals and so on, 1.2 trillion. Under this administration, in 2 years, it doesn't spend 1.2 trillion, right? But you will think, you'll be feeling better and different. How come we didn't get sugar shortage under the APNU ALC, who spent the same amount of money, right, in a greater length of time, and these guys spend same amount of money in a less amount of time, but things worse? I mean, that's a phenomenon to me, right? Under the APNU LC, every year, public servants got a raise in salary every single year for 5 years, right? Every year.
And inflation rate was what?
Inflation rate was 0.9 in 2020 when they took over. Every year.
In 2019.
Right?
Yes. That's
every year. Isn't that then take over with the thing, with the local class motion?
Well, true.
Right? Every year, roads were being done, bridges were being built, hospitals were being recapitalized. Every year. A lot of people think things were moving fast enough, but we weren't here. We need to line up for sugar.
And this, folks, listen, look at it. Look at the numbers. It's there on your screen. Look at this number, because this is why I said that, and I spoke about 2016, that the 230 billion that you're looking at there in 2016, right, on the AP and UAFC. And I said in that year, the people said in the National Assembly that the salary of public servants should be increased by 50%. 50% they said in 2016 when the budget was 230 billion. Look at the budget there in 2022, folks. Look at it there. 552.9 billion, more than double of the $230 billion. So by their own measuring stick, isn't public servants supposed to get at least 100% increase?
I don't understand. I don't want us to get numb to these figures.
Don't.
But in 5 years, 1.2 trillion was spent on the last administration. Your water quality improving. We're getting less blackouts Yesterday, you were witness on the program Blackout, right? 1.2 trillion has already been spent by the PPP. 1.2 trillion. How come we're suffering? How come big uncle in the market say when the buyers come, they're scratching their head, how the price is like? How come? It's a phenomenon to me. I don't know. It's Dutch disease, it's resource curse. I don't know what it is. It's Obia. With a bad spot, though.
The different, the people
with a bad spot.
Very different when it comes to the way. And where is the money going? That is the question. That is the overarching question, because it's one thing. It's good if a country have a lot more money to spend, but where is the money going? And that's what people need to understand. If the money is not coming back to you, and the vendor explained it best when he said, you know, persons not buying, sales drop, and the man was asking him, the reporter was asking, you know, what you think should be done? He said increase the public servants' wages, because if they get more money, they're coming to buy from him. Right? That's how it works, you know. And we talk about direct transport. Oh gosh, I don't want to get into the concept of the terminology, but direct transport, actually making sure that the money gets into the hands of the people, because we're asking where is the money going, and we want the money to be given directly. We want direct transfers to the people, and one of the more certain ways of direct transfer is to make sure that you increase public servants' wages and salaries. And it works. The system works. There's a concept in economics. You know, it talks about the invisible hand, how the market works to regulate itself. You know, and we have to understand.
That's Adam Hole, invisible hand,
right?
Adam, somebody.
We have to speak about the fact that those things work. And I have to say, there's some persons that say, you know, if you give people more money, it's going to cause more inflation. And all that has been proven and failed throughout the length and breadth of the world. And one of the even at home here, we can see under the AP and UAFC administration, Winston Jordan made sure that he was increasing public service wages. Minimum wage was increased by almost 100% under the AP and UAFC administration, yet the inflation rate was there, just right there, almost nothing, right? Meaning that your purchasing power on a yearly basis was more. It simply meant that you were able to elevate your standard of living, because you were getting more disposable income every single year, right? Look at what is going on right about now. The direct transfer is not an interest of the PP administration, because they're not pumping money when it comes to increasing wages and salary into the public servants' pocket, you know, and that's what we need when it comes to private sector employees. For God's sake, we go out there and we listen to the PP administration talking so much about reducing this tax, and I always say you have to look at who are the beneficiaries of these measures.
These fanciful
you
things.
know. And it always goes, and they say it too. They believe that they work by a principle that you have to empower the private sector. You know, you have to give them all the cuts here and there so that they will work and things will trickle down. But then the same administration, they came out with a big announcement. What was the big announcement when it comes to the persons, the minimum wage earners in the private sector? Oh, $6,000 a month. You know, oh, lovely.
Not going to trickle in,
right? How is that even aligned with the level of intervention and policies when it comes to tax cuts to give to those people?
Partly answered. He says when poor people spend, the economy boom.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
You know,
that's how it works.
You know, Naomi Drucker says Guyana is rich and poor. There's no middle class. Right? Rich and poor. Balaram Indar says only black tea. Wanda Jackman says in the pocket, that's where the money go in. Right? Yeah. Sadly.
It's crazy. It's crazy the way in which things are happening right now. We continue this conversation on our podcast, folks, at 12. Our time goes by very quickly.
That's our time for this morning. That's our program. Folks, do us a favor. Hundreds of you have tuned in this morning. Do us the biggest favor of our lives. Share the live broadcast. Smash that emoji button for us. And those of you coming back to view it too, share. Smash that emoji button, good folks. Let me go down. Partner with us as well. You know, we don't want to water here, unfortunately. We want to keep our programs going, and we rely on your generosity, your love, and your support. And we feel all of it. We feel it in our bones till we spine tingle it. Partner with us. Share the live. Smash the emoji button. Partner with us. The 3 rules for viewing.
It's 3 rules. Just 3. Have a good day, guys.